There's Anne.
And stop.
Stop.
Just got going. Good morning to everybody. All right.
Sean's back.
Sean is back. Sunday, fun day is underway. To start today, we're going to come all the way to the back row of mats. I know it's a long journey, but once you arrive there, take your heels and put them into the corners of the mat. Turn your toes inwardly to face the center line. After you've done that, let's bring some straightness to the legs. Before we kind of continue, I'm going to bring a little bit of emphasis to some of the inward rotation of our legs by asking you to simply push the ball of each big toe into the mat. If your outside toes lift up, that's fine. I'm going to go there, keeping the legs straight. We're going to begin to create a little bit of pelvic awareness. And I'd like you to kind of take your hips with the legs remaining straight and pushing them forward. And as you push them forward, I'd like you to kind of imagine that strong six-pack muscle of yours is pulling from the pubis area up and engaging and making like a rock solid type of tension oriented structure. Kind of like I use that cannonball thing that you're going to shoot one in and you're protected. And from that now, we're going to start to draw up the spine. And you can imagine, or if you can imagine, the spinal column getting nice and long. We're going to drop the chin so underneath runs parallel, pull it into the neck, draw the shoulders up. And imagine you're kind of pulling them off the center lines and just let your hands dangle. Let's take a couple breaths here. Now, while we hold on this, we're going to keep that big toe ball pushing to the mat, but now we're going to pull the legs into the center line. And as you do that now, let's open the palms to face forward. Spread your fingers widely. Take a big inhale, and as you exhale, slowly lift the arms up shoulder height. Thumbs are facing to the sky. You think I was going to hug you?
I don't have room for this. You need to move over.
Oh, we got lots of room. Now, we're going to open the palms to face the sky, and as you inhale, we're going to salute the sun. And as you exhale, you're going to let everything relax as you draw your butt backwards and fold down and enjoy a nice elongation of the spine. Take a few breaths. Everything's kind of relaxed right now. You're going to bend both knees and then straighten the legs. Let's step our toes straight forward. Let's make that little correction. And then bend both knees and extend them. And bend and extend a few times. We're starting to open up our joints, create a little more joint mobility, create a little more blood flow into some of the muscles that are involved with hip flexion and extension. Same thing with our knees and ankles. Try to increase the range of motion. How low can you go? How high can you rise? Slowly up and down. And then let's hold in the down position and step your palms onto your shins. Now let the elbows sweep away. And now use the palms to push and also use the muscles in the back to elongate the spinal column. It's almost like being in a tabletop position. And we're going to drop the butt down a little more so there's a higher elevation of shoulders and hips. With that held in place, let's now sweep the arms forward and extend them out greatly. Let the shoulders, let everything kind of shift forward and then drift backward to give you as much weight bearing into the heels. Take a big breath in, and as you exhale, fold down and push your hips to the sky. Inhale, extend to a flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, extend and fold, and do this for a few more repetitions. On the next breath, sweep up and salute the sun. Everyone, beautiful, shining face, smiling, happy. And as you release your breath, let your arms fall. Let's step the feet together now. As we bring the feet together, legs should also come together. Once again, we're going to get that orientation of push of the ball of each big toe, and some straightness to the legs as we begin to hollow out the belly and pull it skyward. Let's pull the shoulders up and proud out the chest. Let's take your thumbs, turn them internally, so they're rotating in towards the body and then backwards, if you can kind of make that rotation happen through the shoulders. While we hold here now, with our body, we're going to simply corkscrew the arms. So open and close at your own pace. Be mindful that the shoulders aren't rotating inwardly and outwardly. We've got a nice orientation, kind of right below the ears. And if the incline or inclination is to move them forward, try to maintain some stabilization. So we have those shoulder capsules kind of directly below the ears as best we can. Okay, on the next repetition, hold the palms straight forward, raise the arms back up shoulder height. Use the fingers to pull everything off the center line of the body, straighten out those arms as best you can, and do the same thing. Corkscrew the hands up and around, down and around. Do that for a few repetitions. Again, it's all about shoulder stabilization, right? You can simply nod your head. Yeah, okay, I get it. All right, in the next repetition, hold the palms facing to the sky, sweep the arms up to the sky, take a big fill of lungs, and as you exhale, pull your butt back and fold it all the way down. Inhale, extend to a flat back. Exhale, fold. Do that for a few more repetitions. As you extend, imagine there's a string pulling out of the head. Now let's hold that extension and then straighten out the legs. And if you feel a little more tug or pull along the backside, great, because that's kind of what we're going for. Now, while you keep those legs straight, drift that booty backwards to create a little more release of those posterior muscles. Very important here to optimize this, that we're working back extension as we draw the hips backwards. Take a big inhale. As you exhale, keep the legs squeezing together as you bend both knees, and keep them squeezing together as you extend the legs straight. Now, in this straight extension, we're going to draw back, and when we bend, we're going to allow the knees to shift forward. Try as best you can to keep the back extending. So, straight legs, hips draw back, knees bend, body lowers, and do that for a few more repetitions. All right, now, holding it in a long leg position, back extended, proud out the chest. Take the left and right arm and sweep them forward and arise back to standing. So we can see your bright, shining faces, happy and happy. Oh, and then exhale, release. Take your right foot, step it forward. Separation of church and state, an oldie but a goodie, but here we go. Up on the toes of that back foot, just give it a little gander. See if the heel's aiming straight at the sky, making sure we haven't rotated internally. As we have that nice forward position, I want to make sure that your right knee is slightly above or slightly behind your right ankle. I'm going to bring my hands to interlock the fingers and draw my thumbs onto my chest plate. I'm going to ask you to do the same. Now, while we hold here, I like to get a stable position where we have a nice balance. We're going to lean in, and when we do so, we're doing so without foregoing any of the setup that we had. So if your knee in the front bent, keep it straight. We want to load into some specific muscles. Now, while we're leaning forward, I'd like you to take the ball of the right big toe, push it into the mat. Hold the balance. Take the arms, extend them outwards. Keeping the arms straight, rotate to the right, and then come back center. This again is challenging balance as we connect kinetically to some of our rotational effort. Make the effort from the shoulders and not from the arms. Our arms can move a lot more. The range of motion is really garnered by shoulders rotating. Come back center, bring those thumbs back onto the chest, and switch up sides. Same setup, opposite side. You like that? A little less stable?
This is talking.
It's just talking. All right. So Up from the toes, heels skyward, front foot, lean it in. Nice. Now, arms extend out. Rotation. And enjoy a little bit of silence. This is for Kirsten's benefit. Your back center, hands or thumbs apart, step that back foot forward, release the hands, and sweep them up to the sky. Strong salute of the sun, powerful exhale, draw your arms, upper arms onto your chest. Now, let's spread the feet out about hip width. I'm going to draw in and kind of give me a little squeeze. Another way to kind of vision or visualize this is imagine you had a towel that you didn't want to fall to the ground. So give those arms a little squeeze, keep that towel in place. Now, we're going to build from the base up. So the feet, butt hip width apart, big toes pushing to the ground, or the ball, sorry, pushing to the ground, legs are straight, belly pulling up, pulling in, chest proud, arms squeezing, towel relentlessly captured by that upper arm of yours with that squeeze. We're going to take the back of the hands and grip them backwards ever so slightly. And just kind of like a bird flaps in the wind, sorry. We're going to move in and out slowly. It's a small range of motion that we're going to work to increase as we go through this exercise. Keep the chest proud and enjoy a few repetitions. Go at your own speed. Make sure you're not compressing through the neck. Now increase the range. Come more forward, sweep all the way back. And do that for a few more repetitions. So right now we're working external rotators of the shoulder and the stabilization of the shoulder blade. Something that's often affected by when we sit for long periods of time and everything kind of rotates inwardly. So we're kind of working correctively on that right now. All right, let's hold that open. Pull with the fingers, elongate the arms nice and wide. Corkscrew in and out the arms. Imagine the fingers continue to pull from the central line through this whole external and internal range of motion of the arms. And then finally, palms face the sky, salute the sun, hold high, and with feet hip width apart or slightly greater, let's begin to descend the body by lowering and bending through the knees. And then standing back tall. And if you start to feel the middle to upper back engaging and recruiting, perfect. Enjoy that, if it is enjoyable. Make sure you're not compressing through the neck. I find that tension often shows or expresses itself in the weakest area of the body, the neck being one of those areas. Now let's stand tall, salute high, fill the lungs, blow it out, fold it down, fingertips to the earth, inhale, extend to a flat back, exhale, fold. Do that again for a few more repetitions. Holding the back in extension, straightening the legs, drawing that booty backwards, walking the fingers forward. See if you can garner a little more distance, pull back a little further if you can, and walk forward the fingers a little more if you can. Round out the chest, fill the lungs, exit the air, and let the upper body just fold down and relax. Let's bring hand to opposite elbow and enjoy another couple of breaths. Keeping the elbow and hand connected, start to peel up vertebrae by vertebrae, each part of your spinal column, and come up to standing. Now, right now, our shoulders are in an inwardly rotated position purposefully. So we're gonna hold on this for 1 second as we raise up the elbows about shoulder height. We're gonna draw back the shoulders, again, remaining tension free with the neck. We're gonna initiate some kinetic activation. So the ball of each big toe pushing into the mat, legs gaining straightness. We're gonna take the pubis and begin to push it forward. And if you feel a little bit of medial or inner thigh work, or your gluteals in the back more active, great. Let's hold on that as we execute some rotation. So we're gonna shift the shoulders all the way to the right, come back center and go all the way left. Now, as you make this happen, so continue, let's make sure we're not seeing rotation through the hips. We have this all kinetically connected, so we're really rotating the spinal column. So let's continue on that for a few more repetitions. And then let's take the arms, sweep them out, and then position the arms the opposite way and continue the exercise. Beautiful. All right, now sweep the arms all the way out and then begin to use more rotation. Allow the shoulders to kind of flow through the movement now. Let them rotate internally. And as you pull them back so you have external rotation going on. Try not to flail the arms. Try to keep them in the same line as your side of the body. You're just creating more opportunity to roll open. Allow the hips now to venture into this. Give them some opportunity to float and move from side to side. Nice. And then let's come back straight. Bring hands over hearts and say, thank goodness, that's done. All right. Okay, now let's step the toes straight forward and make a little check down there to make sure your knees and the toes have the same line. As best you can, of course. Now, take the palms, push them together, elevate the elbows, and then rotate the fingers inwardly. Let's hold on this, making sure again, neck is tension free. Draw your hips backwards, let the knees push forward and begin to bring down the body as we go into the squat. You may not feel the same middle spine kind of activation or the same level of intensity, but then I want you to explore the range of motion all the way up and all the way down, as far down as you can go. On the next rep, push the hands to the sky, salute the glorious sun, exhale, let the arms fall, take the left foot, step it back into a warrior-like position. So both feet are flat to the earth. As we maintain that, I'd like you to take that left ball of big toe, push it into the mat, and try to create a rotational effort of the left hip forward. And as we try to work to square, let's bring hands over heart. Now, front knee, we're going to bend that. Let the knee kind of push forward to the toe box, and then come back to a straight leg. The back foot is grounded. It's almost helping to push. Two things happening, of course. Create a little more forward force, but also a little resistance on the backward motion. So our quadriceps now are highly active. You may feel a little burning. It's all good. Enjoy it. Create a little heat. And when you rise back up, switch up sides. Rotate it. Keep it rotating. Keep that back leg pushed forward and up and down, kind of like a piston. When your body's moving through this space, try to keep it in the same line so you're not drifting out of the line, going side to side, keeping the focus through those muscles that we're working right now. . All right, and then take that back foot, step it forward, separate the feet to the edges of the mat, and turn your toes internally. Take your right arm, sweep it to the sky, left hand goes onto the left hip. Use the fingers to pull the arm long, and then rotate the palm to face center line as you push the hips out. Let that right arm begin to descend in towards the head. Roll the arm though, we're not bending through the elbow. Roll that arm, get that nice lateral stretch, pulling up and over the hip, along the rib cage, along the shoulder, into the arm, come back up, switch up sides. Arm long, hip driving, pull, 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 pull. Take here for a couple of breaths. Try to imagine the growth here of the arm, pulling, pulling, pulling. Come back up, switch up sides. Little nuance here. So now I'm going to keep that nice outward thrust of the hip, but we're going to draw the hip backwards. So the right hip rotates back. We're going to let the left hip and left knee embrace this a little bit. Knee bends, left hip rotates forward, come back up, switch up sides. Oh my goodness, what is going on, folks? Coming back up and letting the arms drop. Nice stretch. You can do it anytime you want. This is good when you sit for long periods of time and those muscles kind of get, Now, shoulders draw up, elbows draw back. So we have a nice little bend. And you have my thumbs kind of on the bony part of my hips. I'm going to spread the fingers nice and wide. I'm going to hold on this as we squeeze the elbows together, avoiding neck compression. As we hold on that, we're going to take our knees and we're going to bend them. We're going to come down into a squat-like position. You may notice now that the range of motion is more limited as we try to hold the upper body posture. And I like you to kind of explore the range without compromising and basically saying without rotating internally with the shoulders. This is like prevents us from kind of cheating our way down, basically. So we're going to work in hip flexion, extension. That's also knees and ankles involved. As we do a few more squats, remember, explore the range. Try to get down a little deeper without compromising. Nice. One more rep. Come back up. Salute the sun. Big inhale. Exhale. Take it down to the mat. Grab some water. Oh, boy, feeling better already. Cheers, everybody. Cheers. Cheers. Quick. Fine, Crystal. All right, without further ado, we're going to take our right shin and align it. So it's kind of like the square of the mat is the square that we find in our legs. So we use shin and thigh aligned with mat. We're going to take our right leg and I'm going to sweep it back so the foot runs perpendicular to the line of the mat. And then I'm going to take my right elbow and I'm going to take it onto my thigh. And as I create spinal extension, I'm supporting with my left hand, left arm, that spinal extension. I'm going to use my right arm to kind of help push open the leg. So now we're actually doing a couple things. We're working exterior hip rotation and also exterior shoulder rotation. But the load in the muscle should be felt. So we're working statically or isometrically the exterior rotator of the shoulder. A good exercise for people that have shoulder issues. Oh, is someone smiling over there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we're going to hold in this, a couple more breaths. And we're going to relax. We're going to let that knee kind of descend back down to the earth. And we're going to reposition this to stop. We have a 90 and 90 degrees with the legs. As we lower down onto the forearm now, that left side, want to make sure you're not rotating internally with that left shoulder. You've got a nice proud chest, shoulder draw back, spinal column nice and long. We're going to hold on this for a couple of seconds and add our arm in. So the right arm reaches to the sky and then begins to descend towards that right ear, keeping everything that we set up before, not locked down, but not compromised, not conceding to where our bodies feel like they should go. Keep the shoulder, that left shoulder pulling back and keep the fingers on the right side pulling along the arm, get that nice lateral stretch. On your next breath, sweep that arm back down and keep the forearm position. We're gonna open up the right knee and close it down. So we're simply articulating the right hip. So your hinge point is really the ball of that left foot and the heel, of course. And while we make the hip move, let's not compromise the left forearm shoulder position. So we're just really working on strengthening those exterior rotators. They're getting some blood flow into them. Those muscles normally dominate our posture. You notice if you sit, your legs splay open. Now we're just creating a little bit of blood flow and innervation, but we're also working the inward rotation too. So the outside is of course against gravity, the inside is pulling with gravity, so there's less load into it. So it's not as effective at the in as the out. But nonetheless, we've got that nice blood flow going. All right, now let's stop that. Come back up, switch up sides. All right, so forearm descends down onto it, making sure the shoulder is nicely rotated externally and stable as that left hand sweeps the sky and descends towards that left side of your head. Use the fingers to pull along the arm and enjoy a nice stretch for a couple seconds. As we sweep that left arm back down, let's begin to rotate inwardly and externally with that left leg. Where the left hand is up to you. I just like to have it slightly for balance as we work kind of these clamshells or modified clamshells. Inward, exwardly. Enjoy the journey. Range of motion too, very important. So trying to rotate down and all the way up. So if you can see if you can get your knee to kind of touch the mat and then pull it back as far as it can go. Really activate those external rotators to the hip. All right, on the next rep, we're going to sweep that leg forward into a staff pose. Our first staff meeting of the year. Enjoy it. I know, bad jokes. I need some new material. Now, with our staff pose today, we're going to make sure our heels are onto the corners of the mat. Very important here is the orientation of the pelvic girdle. And a lot of us, and myself included, like to rotate posteriorly. So we're sitting on our tailbone. And I'm going to ask you to kind of be more mindful to be on your sit bones. So it's almost like you have two imaginary springs on the top of the hips, pulling up and forward. And you should feel a nice, maybe solid connection with the mat. We're going to take your toes and flex them in. You're going to walk your fingers along your shins. And as you start to experience the stretch through those legs or back legs, we're going to see if we can kind of extend this a little more. As you take your fingertips over top toes, we're going to bend the toes inwardly to get a nice release to the bottom of the foot. As we keep that rotation, I think it brings spine to extension. And as you keep the spine extended, keep the ankles flexing in towards the shin, spine extends and upper body lowers down towards the legs. They should be felt maybe far down as deep into the calf muscles. If you know any bilateral differences, so if one side feels stretching more than the other, that's generally where you have a little bit of deficiency in flexibility. So this will work both kind of equally together. You might feel that disparity kind of dissipate as we hold this stretch for a few more seconds. Proud of the chest and ascend, come back up. Beautiful. Let's bring the legs together and Pilates style. Let's take it down to the mat. One vertebrae at a time. As that descent goes down, take your arms and extend them all the way back.
Take your toes and point them forward. Let's feel a nice lengthening through all of the range of your body. As you sweep the hands to the sky, take the right leg and lift it up and bring fingertips to toes, and then slowly lower both down. The upper body returns back to the mat, Pilates style. Inhale, raise up left side. So we're going to alternate slowly up and down. And enjoy this for a few repetitions. Oh,
Struggling there?
struggling. It's been so long since I've exercised. I don't think I have any muscle left. Let's do one more on each side. And then come back into your staff pose. Feet about hip width apart this time. Let's bring our hands back in to the center of the, and walk your fingers out and descend the upper body. Let the spine flex this time. Just enjoy a nice flexed, relaxed spine. As you inhale, extend to a flat back. Bring the hands back down into position. Take your fingers and rotate them away from the body. Spread them widely. Take your shoulders, pull back as you proud out the chest. Pull that imaginary string I like to refer to on the top of the head to the sky. So proud chest, shoulders rotating externally. Now step your fingers so that they're backward aiming. Get nice feel, nice stretch across the chest. To amplify this, try to trigger expansion. And what I mean by that is simply pulling the shoulders off of that center line of the body. Hollow out the tummy, roll the spinal column, keep the chest proud, fill the lungs with air. Exhale. Let it all relax. Let's come down onto the mat. Posterior muscle chains are on the card right now. We're going to take our heels hip width apart and step them in so that the legs have a slight bend to them. We're going to bring flexion to the feet and then inwardly rotate our legs. So this is the counter exercise to the one we did with the 1990s. This is focusing more on the internal rotation muscles or the medial muscles. So very important is that squeeze of the legs. Keep those muscles active. If you notice trembling, that's good. That's the muscles basically screaming for oxygen. So we're going to hold on this just for a couple seconds. Try to give me a little intensity, squeeze a little harder, and then relax. Keep the bend in the knees. Allow the exterior rotators to take over and open, and then close. And then do that for a couple more
Reps.
times. Yeah. Kirsten wanted me to say reps, but I got tired of saying that word all of a sudden. What's a new word for reps? Times. All right, let's hold them back together. Let's keep the toes inwardly rotated. Let's squeeze those thighs. Let's get some of more muscle active here. Let's bring the arms beside the body with a proud chest. The connection point is really the back, which is your shoulder blades and your fingertips. The rest of your arm is elevated off the mat. Spread your fingers widely so your thumbs and fingertips connect and push gently into the mat while you maintain that nice proud chest. I'd like you to hollow out your belly. Now we've got that all engaged. Keep it, keep it, keep it, keep it. Now, from the heels, I'd like you to push and create an exaggerated squeeze of your thighs. And with the heels pushing and that exaggerated squeeze, I'd like you to try to lift your butt up off the mat. and then lower back down. Now, in the process of lifting, if you compromise the squeeze, I like you to not lift off. I want you to make the squeeze more intense as we lift up. That's really what this exercise is. So let's squeeze and try to elevate and give me a deeper activation in those inner thigh muscles. And if you feel like they're working harder, good stuff. Don't let the feet come out of flexion. Squeeze the thighs harder and then lower down, and then do that exercise of open and close. We'll do this one more time. Have to make those muscles more active in our movement, and it helps to give us better control over what goes on in our hips and lower back, believe it or not. All right, so we're back in position. We're squeezing, fingertips pushing, arms long, chest proud, tummy pulled in and engaged. Heels begin their push, and we begin the ascent of the hips up off the mat. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then lower down and extend arms and toes opposite direction. Pull that body nice and long. Enjoy a little bit of reprieve. As you exhale your next breath, pull the knees up and into the chest and rock forward and back with them, just to give those lower back muscles a little relax, a little stretch, and a little innervation. And when you're ready, bring your forehead up into your knees and rock and roll forward all the way up to the seated position. Extend the right leg forward. We're going to anchor that base of foot in and around that left knee. If you cannot get the knee down, that's fine. It's whatever you can is more, excuse me, it's more body appropriate today. So with that front foot, we're going to take the right hand and reach down and grab on. So we're basically wrapping over the toes. We're going to pull the toes in and bring the foot into great flexion, as much flexion as we can get. And if you feel nice release along the calf area, up and into the knee, that's great. We're going to hold on this. Now, to add into this, it may not be possible, but we're going to try. We're going to get a nice spinal extension. And if you felt a little deeper pull with that spinal extension, perfect. That's kinetically what we're looking for here, is that nice pull. Now, adding into this, we're going to bring more flexion to the hip, but not by compromising the spinal column, but by keeping it extended as you hold in. If you feel an even more intense pull, enjoy it. It's what we're here for. As the acceptance of the muscles allows for it, try to get a little deeper. Let's not force this. Let's come back up. And switch up sides. Reaching forward, left side. You can see I'm using my right arm for support. As I pull in, remember we're staging this stretch, so don't go into it right off the gate. Go unless it's, body appropriate. Now, as that foot continues to pull into the body with the assistance of the hand, let's take the spinal column and give it some length. Proud out the chest. Keep that neck from being compressed. When you're ready, begin the descent with the extension of the spine. So the fascia, the connective tissue, often has an interaction with the muscle. And as we use both to kind of increase muscle length, provides a nice benefit for our flexibility. With extension of the spinal column, come back up and then bring the bottoms of both feet together. I'm going to reposition onto my sit bones. As I wrap my ankles with my hands, I'm going to begin to create that pelvic rotation up onto the sit bones, spinal extension. And with those arms helping to assist, I'm gonna kind of pull through and pull in. So I'm gonna try to anchor in bottoms of the feet towards the pubis area as I keep the spinal column nice and long. So this should be relatively easy for most, but not for all. So judge where your body is today. As we keep this for one more second, take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, keep the feet in position, bring down the upper body, Pilates style. Boy, nice pull. Gonna roll onto the left side, so our legs stack. I always like to keep my arm to balance or comfort my head so my neck doesn't feel so much strain. But I definitely want to keep the spinal column in extension, so we're not flexed or in type of fetal type position. We're in an active position, spinal column long. I'm going to bring flexion back to my feet, and now I'm going to use my heels as kind of a hinge point as I open up and close the right leg. I'm going to try to avoid rolling back with the hips or that upper body. So I'm simply focusing on, again, external rotation. And then I'm going to roll over onto the left side, same exercise. And then I'm going to bring both legs straight and roll back slightly so I'm not on my hip bone. So it's kind of like the meaty section of my hips as I take the left leg and extend it out. And sorry, keep my left leg extended as I lift it up. I'm going to slowly pull it towards the sky. Now there's going to be a drift that may be taken over by certain muscles. I'd like you to try to pull straight up from the floor without moving inwardly or outwardly, just straight up and down, and try to give me as much lift as you can. And now we're going to add movement in. So we're going to lift it up, hold it up, move it out, keep the legs straight. So you're really pulling with the ankle and not rotating with the foot. So we're not trying to rotate the leg open, we're just trying to pull the leg backwards. So we're keeping the foot aiming straight across the opposite side of a mat as we bring it across and draw it back. It's almost like we're drawing a straight line. The outside of the foot runs parallel to the floor as best you can.
Mhm.
And then bring that back, lower it down, roll over to the opposite side. So we've done a lot of hip mobility and hip strengthening with muscles today. So make sure that you're on the meaty part, bringing straight up the foot and lowering it down. On the next breath, we're going to hold straight up, draw back the foot, keep the leg straight, and then move it forward and back. Try to keep the elevation of the foot equal across the whole range of motion. And then lower it down. Let's come all the way onto our back sides right now. We're almost set to finish this up. Thank goodness. Now, let your legs just kind of find their natural spot. Some of us will open. Few of us will rotate internally. Some of us will have more of an orientation of the toes straight up. Whatever your orientation is, just accept it. Let the shoulders relax and be flat to your mat. Let the palms face up to the sky. Let's slowly roll your head from right back to center, over to the left. And then let it just kind of find its own spot to rest. And then let's just let the body relax. And enjoy the journey that we experienced today. The mindfulness of how we work to improve our body's flexibility and our body's strength. When you're ready, let's walk it up to a seated position. Let's bring hands over hearts. Let me thank you for being here today. Namaste.
Namaste.
Nama didn't stay. Wow.
Okay.
Alrighty.